is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around the Silks. This is The Expectant Aerialist. How's it going? Now part of the Digitant family of podcasts. I hope you're having a wonderful week. And stuff to talk about before we get started. Roll it out. 60-minute virtual live body rolling classes with a focus on the aerialist and our problems. Would love to have you guys. We have now a class on Sunday evenings and Tuesday as well. I'm sorry, it's Pacific time, 7 o'clock for people on the other side of the world. But there's also the portal, and you can access all of my videos. And today we have Roya Caviglia. She is somebody that I met actually in the group that I learned how to make an online course with. So she was creating her own online course on how to teach and learn baby sign language. And I reached out to her. I was like, do you remember me from taking this course with me? And she jumped on, and she's just a delight. She tells us how to teach our babies and toddlers how to sign before they can verbally communicate with us. So I'm so excited for you guys to hear this. Let's get started. I didn't know that you were in Switzerland. I thought you were in the States. Why? I always assume. It's a bad thing to assume.
Well, surprise.
Yeah. Well, also, you know, it's like we have this digital community, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the world is so small like this. Yeah.
Yeah. So my listeners, Roya, actually, the way I met her is kind of unique from the other guests that I bring on. She was taking this course that I was taking, Create Awesome Online Courses.com.
Yep.
And we both, along with many, many people across the world, took this course and able to create our own courses, online courses. And they have this Facebook group, and we shared, we get to like cross-contaminate in a way and share what we all do. And what she does is kind of up our alley, being moms in this podcast. So, Roya, if you would introduce yourself, a little bit about your family and where you live and what you do, and then I'll just jump in and we'll start.
Okay, let's start. So I'm Roya Caviglia, and I live in Switzerland with my family. I have two little people. I'm from the UK originally, and my husband's Italian, and we've lived in a few countries, actually. We just moved to Switzerland last year, and before that we were in the Netherlands for nearly 10 years, nearly a decade, and then 2 years in Germany, and before that we were in Switzerland. So it's been a bit of a journey around Europe, but now we're in Switzerland again. We're in Geneva, which is the French-speaking part, and we are hopefully settled. We are not planning to go anywhere else anymore after all these adventures traveling, because we have now our children. I still call them small children, but they're in school, so primary school children. And so that's me and my family and where we live. And so what I do is I teach people to really enjoy the transition to parenthood by focusing on communication with their little people. And when I talk about focusing on communication, I'm thinking about reading their body language, and my course, my signature program that I developed on this course that you were also doing, is my baby sign language course. Yeah. And I have a special interest too in helping families with raising their children multilingual, because that was an amazing discovery with our children, that we have 4 languages in our family that we use often. And the baby signing bridges the languages. So this came later. It was sort of a happy discovery, but I'm really leading into it now.
Oh my God. Okay, first of all, it's so niche. Like, I've been doing this podcast for 3 years and still organically have not come across someone quite like you in the other spaces that I'm in, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Definitely speech pathology, but this is slightly different. So, before we go into how to guide parents, how did you get into this?
Okay, so good question. I am by training, and actually most of my professional life, I've been teaching English as a foreign language. And that's something that I trained to do in London, and it's been wonderful on our journey all around Europe. I've always been able to teach. Although my specialism was business English and teaching adults. But then in the Netherlands, when we were expecting our first baby, I was beginning to worry about, actually, we sort of came full circle, because I was worried about whether my child growing up in the Netherlands would speak English well enough or speak Italian well enough to have like good relationships with our families at home in England and Italy. And so I was really focused on learning about baby development, baby language development, teaching English to very small children. I was thinking, could I be doing that with my own children? Because that was my job anyway, teaching English. But how would it be different to teach babies or toddlers from teaching adults? Or could we just bring them up like immersively as if they were in England, and that would be enough for the English? So I was focusing on all of this already. And then something amazing happened. So nobody knew that we were pregnant yet, actually. And we had friends come and stay from Japan. And they brought baby Miley. So it was a Japanese family. And they had a baby who was just learning to walk. I think Miley must have been about a year old, somewhere between 9 months and a year old. And at breakfast, we were, there, all of us, and chatting. And this baby just put her fingers next to her mouth and sort of opened and closed her index finger and thumb. I'm doing it, but you can't see because it's a podcast. So Miley was doing this little gesture with her hand and looking out the window. And then her mum Chia started talking to her in Japanese. And they were having this real moment, this connection. And I'm just like, what is happening? What is this? Like, you have to explain right now to me what is happening with this baby, because this is a baby that cannot talk yet. She wasn't saying any words yet, but they were having this really meaningful communication moment. And yeah, they didn't know I was pregnant, but I was, and I knew. So then I was like, I have to know all about this. So I fell down the research rabbit hole into baby sign language, and the whole thing was just so fascinating. I was determined to do that with my baby when he arrived, and we did. And it wasn't easy, because a lot of the time I was thinking, is this crazy? Like, is what I'm doing crazy? Can my child communicate with his hands before he can speak? Like, I had a lot of doubts, and I wasn't sure, and I kept reading things online, watching videos, buying resources and stuff. But then when he was about 8 months old, he signed back. He signed papa, he signed back. And my husband, of course, was super excited. And we had a child who couldn't speak, who was like telling us stuff.
Wow, because you were signing the whole time.
So we were signing, I think I stopped and started. But I think from around 6 months old, I was really determined. And we didn't sign loads of things, but we signed mommy, papa. We signed toilet, actually, because we thought it was hilarious. But he actually picked up on that one. So around that same time, I think his first sign was papa. And then he would sign toilet at around 9 months old, wherever we went. So we just called him the toilet inspector. It was so funny. But we could actually put him on the toilet and he would pee, like, mind blown, like crazy stuff.
So he would sign toilet, meaning he had to pee.
Well, at first we were just like, he's signing toilet. Okay, so we're in the library or the cafe or wherever. So we would just take him and show it to him, like, there's the toilet, and he would be happy.
So it's like a object.
Yeah, and then at some point we were just, should we just put him on? Should we put him on it? It's funny, but I still can't, like, a lot of things that happen with my two kids, I still can't believe it. Like, it's still, I have so much enthusiasm for sharing this, because I don't think we really realize how capable our babies are. Anyway, he would pee on toilets at like 9 months, and we didn't teach him how to do that. We just told him the sign, and this is the sign, and whenever we went to the toilet, he could see us, and we would just do this toilet humor hysterical sign. But inadvertently we found out that he figured out what that was for.
Okay, so other cultures have absolutely done this forever, right?
Right.
And so I kind of understand the science behind it, but can you kind of explain that, like the 101, like why it works and why it's a benefit?
Of course. The wider baby sign language stuff, or the more like the early pottying stuff? Because with my second baby, I researched a lot more about that, and I know exactly how that works now, but it is slightly different.
Okay,
So,
both and differentiate it. Yes,
Right,
please.
yeah. Okay, so I think the baby sign language thing, that's my main thing. So let's start with that. So babies have better motor skills for their hands months before they have the skills necessary to control all the muscles, like in their face and their tongue and everything that they need to produce speech, words. So most babies say their first word at around 12 months old, and that's the same for monolingual babies or multilingual babies. But they get control of their hands from it depends on the baby, right? Because every baby develops at their own pace. But let's say around 9 months, or some babies way earlier than that. So, and also another thing that's important is that at 6 months old, around then, they start attaching meaning to words that you're saying or gestures, those things that you're doing with your hands. For example, if you think about a baby learning to wave or point, you don't teach them how to do those things. They just pick them up from seeing you do those things. And most babies are doing that by around 8, 9 months old. Because that's how their hands are developing, and they're having control of their hands already by then. So you can give them, if you start to use other gestures, not just waving and pointing, but also, on a podcast I can't demonstrate, but I'm now doing the sign for milk, which is a bit like milking a cow. Google it, or YouTube it, Google it, or whatever. You'll see it. And they can do that. They can then use their hands to ask for milk, for example, without having to cry for it, because they cannot say the word milk, not for another 6 months at least. Yeah. And that's the main thing for the baby sign language. And then you can add in as many signs as you want, and it depends on your baby and their personality, because every baby has their own personality. But if they're interested in the milk, they're going to tell you, and they'll be able to with their hand or whatever it is. If it's our son, he loved pointing out dogs, like from the window or in the park. And so we taught him the sign for dog, and he could tell us that there's a dog before he could say anything.
I mean, we can't remember when we were that young, but it's like, it must be so frustrating, right? To not be able to communicate as any being. My being, who's 3.5, she sometimes says a word, but it's not exactly what I can understand. And she's just like, oh,
yeah, really?
She's like, why don't you understand me? And she says it like a million times, right? And she's like just getting more frustrated.
Yeah.
And then I suddenly get it. And then she's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. And you see, this can also, for older, not older children too, but like 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds. I had a family that explained to me one time about their little boy. They only speak English. It's not a multilingual situation, but he didn't want to say thank you. And they were always trying to, teach him or encourage him to say thank you to people for things. And he didn't want to. And it was becoming really a friction point with them, until his uncle, who knew some signs, taught him the sign for thank you. And then he was like thanking everyone. And it sort of just turned out that he didn't like to make the sound in English, because that's really hard for children. And even monolingual children, it's like the last sound that they're able to make in the development of language, like that thing with the tongue between the teeth. Like, he was so conscious of it, he hated it. He didn't want to say that word. So it's really beautiful.
So it wasn't the gesture of it; it was the actual phonetics of it, not the gesture. And the parents are upset because they think that he doesn't want a gesture.
Thankful. Yeah, they were upset because he wasn't saying thank you to people. But then when he learned the gesture, he was able to do so, and they were able to understand him, and it took off that self-conscious, like, oh, I can't pronounce it properly,
Oh my God, just saving families around the world, Roya. Good job. So not only do you teach this in person, but you have an online course that can be accessed from anywhere.
Yes.
How do you, let's start into that. How do you teach this to parents?
Okay, so like the online course that I have, it's 12 modules, and we start off with the 3 first modules are very are very useful. They're the most useful signs that you can use. And each video is like less than 10 minutes, because I know what it is to be a new parent with a new baby is completely overwhelming, right? So those first few modules are going to teach you signs like mama, papa, milk, the ones that you're really going to use in your everyday life. And that will take pressure off, hopefully, these frustrating situations where your baby wants milk and doesn't know how to ask for milk. Then they can use the sign. And then as your baby gets older, like 8 months, 9 months, a year and a half, then there are in total 12 modules. So you have 9 other modules with themes. So a theme like going out, getting dressed, going to the doctor, things like this, with signs that still are really, really useful in everyday life, but then you can choose them according to your interests or the child's interests, and like add them in later once it's clicked and your child is signing with you.
So what is it like the nuts and bolts of actually teaching a baby versus like an adult? Like how does one do that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Well, I think the thing is to not teach them, not to try and teach them, because it's a baby. But just to be with them. I think the main thing, we sometimes have this perception of babies as, it's a cute blob and there's lots of crying and sleeping and crying again and feeding them and changing the nappy, and it's like repeat. But actually, if you focus on communicating with your baby, and you can do that even before the 6 to 9 month mark. Like you can be focusing on their body language, because they're telling you a lot of things already with their body language. And you can then you can understand their needs and anticipate their needs and respond to their needs, and just by being with them. So the example that I gave you before about waving, do you remember teaching your child, like, this is a wave, and we do this when we say hello to people, and we do this when we say goodbye to people? I mean, that's not how it works, is it? Right. So the idea is that you as parents, or we as parents, we learn the gestures, we learn the signs, and then we just use them in context. So with the example of the wave, that you wave goodbye and you wave hello, that's the only time you wave. So that's when, your baby will understand that's something to do with people disappearing and reappearing. And then the sign for milk, you always make that sign when your baby is about to have milk, or they can see milk. So if it's a bottle, you're preparing the bottle, you can use the sign. Or if you're breastfeeding, then you say, we're going to have some milk now. Let's get settled on the favorite chair, in the place of the routine that you have. You use the sign. And by using the gestures, these signs in context, your baby builds an association. And it will take probably a little bit of time for it to click with the baby, because they're working out the meaning of, what the gesture means. So it could be that sometimes, like it often happens, one of the first signs babies learn is milk, and then they're signing milk for everything. But eventually they work it out, that's only for milk, and then there are other signs for other things.
I mean, it totally makes sense that we would just, like, if this is hello and goodbye, as a culture, people can't see me, but like the sign for thank you, which is like at the chin and then serving your hand forward. Yeah. Like if we said thank you and did that every single time,
exactly,
the kid would be like, oh, this is associated with that word.
Yes.
So in a simple way, like signing, like not every single word, but using signs for all the words that you use on a regular basis, then your kid's going to pick them up.
Exactly. So the course, there's about 130 signs, I think, or 150, something like that. And I think that's even too many. Like, you don't have to learn every single one, but I think it's really nice to choose the ones that will make your lives easier. I mean, it just makes your life so much easier if your baby can tell you what they need and want, rather than like crying.
I mean, I wish that was universal, like among the countries. Like if I could go to a country that I don't speak the language and there's a sign for I need to go to the bathroom and I just squeeze my hand or something, that would be very useful.
It would be so cool. And that's actually a question I often get asked, because, every country has its own official sign language used by the deaf communities. And of course, I'm not teaching a language. I mean, I think the baby sign language is a little bit of a misnomer because I'm not teaching a language. It's a parenting tool, what I'm teaching.
I see.
Yeah, and so that's why we choose specific ones. And actually, many of the signs that I teach on my course have been modified to allow very small babies with their limited motor skills to perform them. So even like somebody who perhaps speaks ASL, American Sign Language, they might be a bit like, what's that? That's not correct. That's not the right sign, or whatever. If they were looking at my resources, but I'm not teaching American Sign Language. I'm teaching parents and babies to be, I'm helping them communicate better using these gestures. Yeah.
So what you're alluding to is kind of like the specifics of like a niche community. Like, for example, I'm an aerialist, right?
Okay, yeah.
And I'm a teacher, and that's what I teach online. And there was a whole fiasco about one of my videos because I rapped something wrong.
You did it wrong.
I rapped it wrong, and then I called it a certain thing. And because I rapped it wrong, it wasn't supposed to be called that thing.
Okay.
And there was a whole, I mean, Roya, any PR is good PR in my book. So it's fine. People around the world are talking about me. If it's positive or negative, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of, because like I hear that from you. I was like, man, who's threading that needle? Like, who cares?
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, go and look at some of the reviews under my book on Amazon. then so I mean, it's something that it actually has to be made clear, but there is no, and that's really interesting, that there is no official international sign language. That doesn't exist.
Okay.
And there is no official, international baby sign language. And so this method is really my method, but it works, and it works so well.
Which is the important part.
Yeah,
people.
Exactly. And it's just such a joy to see, like, for example, like if we take the American Sign Language sign for I love you, again, I'm doing it, but you can't see it, but it's like your thumb up.
It's like rock. It's like,
it's
rock and roll.
Thumb. Exactly.
Rock and roll. Yeah.
And it actually represents there's the letter I, and then the letter L for love, and then there's like a U in there. It's I love you in the hand. But you're not going to find any baby less than 12 months old who's able to hold up their pinky finger. That's just not going to happen.
They might be able to do the Taylor Swift version.
By 12 months?
I don't know. Can they?
I don't know. I think we're still in like milk and waving territory.
Oh, okay.
I think around 18 months, 2 years old for sure. Like my daughter, for example, the ASL, I love you. She couldn't do that till she was older than 2. Like she would hold her finger up, like a little.
Oh, that's finger. So cute though. Like doing the effort.
He wanted to do the real the real thing, because I told her that's actually the sign that they use in American in the sign language. But we do le for love, so it's this le for love, and it's just like your index finger and thumb up, only those two, and it's much more achievable. And well, I love you anyway is a concept that
it also looks like loser.
Like loser, it's not loser. I love you.
It's love. It's love. It's love.
Yeah, it's le for love. So that's an example of the infant communication.
You should see the reviews on my book on Amazon. It's like this is an aerial book. There's not enough pictures.
Yeah, I
this is just too. Theory. Not enough pictures. Exactly. There's not enough pictures. I was okay.
It's a book. Like I have so many videos everywhere, and then I wrote the book. Okay, I did the book, and it links up to the course, and the book is really like all the questions that I ever got asked, and I just threw them all together in that book, because then they're there, and I can direct somebody to them. And
I can tell Roya took the same course as me, because we like from a business model standpoint, it's like
yeah, exactly. And the book is free, by the way. Go get it. Go download it.
Oh my God. How do people have the time? Anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, so Roya, what are the languages that are spoken in your household? The 4?
So I speak English with my children and my husband speaks Italian with them. I also speak Italian quite well. So as a family, we try to, when the four of us are together, we try to use Italian, although we're not always doing so great at that. But that's sort of the minority language in our situation. And then the children go to school in French, where we live in Geneva. And the fourth language is Dutch, because they were both born in the Netherlands. We were living there. And I have to admit, we're using it less, but my son, both children understand a lot of Dutch. And although we're not speaking it very much, we know it's in their heads and it's going to be a great foundation also for learning German when they start learning German. I think my son will start next year.
Because Dutch and German are similar?
They're similar, yeah. German, they're not the same language, but they have lots of similarities, yeah.
Roya, every time I speak to somebody who's not living in America, I'm like, wow, you guys are so far ahead. You guys are so culturally sexy. Like, Americans.
Okay.
Americans are so American.
So American?
Like, we're just like, yeah, like that's just not the case. Whereas I talk to my friends in Europe and Asia, and it's like 5 languages and like, but it's still, I mean, it's because what they're exposed to.
Yeah, I think, that's
why.
it. And I think it also depends what you're talking about in America, right? Because you have many bilingual people. I mean, I know Spanish is huge, and there must also be pockets of, Asian languages here and there. I don't know how exactly communities organize themselves, but
I think it's different because Europe is like you can travel from one country like you could over here into a state.
Okay.
Like if I go to Las Vegas, it's the same as you going to another country, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's a whole different language in that next little pocket. And it opens your world in a way that, we don't have. We have great things here in America. I love LA. But that is not something that is so accessible,
Okay.
But there is a lot of Spanish being spoken here in California, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it's also an effort because I speak to a lot of families who have similar backgrounds to us, and they struggle with the multilingual aspect. And I talk to mums who tell me, it's just a big mess, or I feel lost. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know if my children are going to pick up these languages. I worried a lot, I think I mentioned it before, about whether my children would be able to speak with my parents. Like, would they have good relationships with the grandparents? Because they're going to be, like, I guess the school language in the end will be the strongest one. So that's going to be French. And French is really not my strongest language. So there's that as well. So there's a lot of effort and planning that goes into genuinely raising multilingual children that are functional, in the languages, and they'll never have all 4 languages at exactly the same level. But if you have to think about what your goals are and your priorities are. It might be that one language they don't learn to read and write, and maybe that's okay. So part of what I do now is one of my resources that I offer. It's a free resource too. Is a family planning worksheet. So where I explain there are some different ideas behind multilingual parenting and how to do it. And I talk about the 2 or 3 different methods 2 or 3 of the many different methods that you can use. And then there's a planning worksheet that you can fill out to sort of just get the ball rolling, because some parents don't think about it. And then they've got a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old and they're like, I wish I was speaking to them in because they're living abroad. It might be that they're speaking French all day at work and they're speaking French with their partner, but their native language is Italian or Spanish or something else. And then they regret that they're not speaking their native language or first language. Native is a little bit problematic in this multilingual world that I live in, but so it is important to plan for it. It doesn't come easily.
Okay, so let's sew the 2 together. So how are you using the baby signing to ease the transition into language? Yes.
So once you have your plan in place, so let's say just for now, we're talking about a family with 2 languages, simplify a little bit my situation. that in that case, when I'm talking to my baby and I'm using these signs, these gestures in context while speaking English to my baby, I will sign milk, the gesture for milk, and I will talk about milk, with the word milk. And then my husband perhaps is getting ready to offer some milk to our baby. He will say that in Italian. So he will make the same gesture, the same sign for milk that I used when speaking English, but he'll speak Italian. Vuoi un po' di latte? Latte is milk in Italian. And so what happens then is that the same gesture is used, the same sign is used for the word milk and the word latte in Italian, which is the same thing. So it bridges the languages. But something really nice that happens too is that it helps the child to separate the languages. Because what can happen when you're raising a multilingual child or a child with a bilingual child is that sometimes the languages get a bit mixed up, and in the same sentence they've got English words and Italian words, and that's called code switching. And it's not terrible, but it makes it, long term, it makes it a bit harder to separate the languages if code switching is happening, because it can become a habit. Whereas if your baby realizes from the get-go that this same gesture has two different words attached, there's two different language systems happening, they're much more able to learn those two languages without mixing them up. I hope that was clear.
Okay, first of all, that's genius. Second of all, that's really it makes so much sense. It's oh yeah, that completely makes sense. Like, even as an adult, if I were to have to learn it in English and Spanish and I had this hand gesture in between, I'd be like, it would serve as a triangle.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really helps. And this was an amazing discovery, because I never read about that anywhere when I was researching baby sign language. And I have seen recently other places say, oh yeah, that also helps with learning languages. But I think it's really a big special thing that I love to talk about, because I think it's not known. It's not known about. And I can tell you a really lovely anecdote with my son when I saw it happen. We used to sign home. It looks like this, it's like a roof. And I'd sign that when we arrived home in the car, or he would sign it to me in the supermarket when he was fed up and he wanted to go home. When he was around, 18 months or something, we'd be in the trolley and he'd be signing home. And then one time we stopped outside the house in the car, and he was speaking a little bit by then, and he said home in English and made the gesture, and he was looking at his hands, and then he said casa. And I was like, yeah.
And that's the Italian for home.
That's exactly, yeah. And it just I saw it happen. It's amazing. It's just amazing.
Oh my God, this is so fascinating.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
Roya, just for my own curiosity, how's your business going ever since you did this crazy course that we took?
Yeah, it's going well. So the course is there, it's available, and we have lots of families having success with it. It's really something that I just love working on, and I love talking about it, and I love sharing it, and it's going well.
And you do in-person consultation where you live?
Yeah, so that's
well?
right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's available to me. Yeah.
Yeah, the online course is just so important in this world, because I can imagine if I brought you on here and you didn't have any offerings for the rest of the world. So only in Switzerland could you offer this. That would suck.
Yeah, really. And then it would be such a joy to have this conversation with you, but it would also be kind of what's the point? We wouldn't be able to send your people anywhere. So yeah, I'm excited to be able to say, hey, can I tell them my website?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Babysignlanguagecourse.com. Yeah, come and visit.
By Baby Sign Language what?
Course. Babysignlanguagecourse.com.
.com. You went for the obvious, and it's so helpful. Don't make people try to remember some random name. Although mine is wrapyourheadaroundsilks.com, but it's because my field is a little bit bigger than yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's somebody has already bought all the other ones.
Oh.
But anyways, it's very useful. It's also mind-blowing, but also not. It's oh, duh. this totally makes sense.
Yeah. It solves so many problems that we have as parents as well. I'm really convinced of that. Like, it helps with bonding. It helps with learning breastfeeding, which is a learned behavior. You know, you have to work as a team with your baby. So you have to know what their hunger cues are. Like, it just makes you focus on things that you wouldn't otherwise. And you notice things about your baby that you wouldn't otherwise, and you know them better. And oh, it's great. I could talk about it for hours. Yeah.
It's like, what is this child trying to tell me?
Yeah.
What? Yes, Bean. I'm almost finished. Are you done? Oh my goodness, she's so good at this.
A little bit.
Like, yeah, she's used to mama podcasting by now. Right, Bean?
Mommy, I want to lay down on you.
You want to lay down on me? You want to snuggle? You know, I was asking for snuggles this morning and you turned me down.
Oh, no.
Mommy.
What?
Mommy.
What?
I want you to talk.
She doesn't want me to
I
talk.
want you to lay down on me.
Would
Would you like some fruit? Would you like some fruit?
I want to sit down.
Okay, listen. We're going to say goodbye to Roya, but you know what? She's part of this podcast. I've been doing it ever since like she was on my nipple, and I like her voice on it because like I can like, as I listen to it, I can hear her growing up on the podcast, and it's so beautiful. Would you like to say hello to the listeners? Would you like to say hi to listeners? Hey, no. Say hello, listeners. No? What do you want to say?
Say hello to me. Hello.
Say hello. No, you just want to make sounds like whining sounds. Okay. Roya, this was a joy. It's perfect. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, it was such a pleasure. So nice. I just love to talk about this stuff. So thank you. You made my day.
Roya, I love connecting with you. This was so fun to learn all about this, and it like is very like common sense. Like, it totally makes sense, and we just, you know, people like me, I just don't have it in my vocabulary yet. So it's exciting to know that this is, you know, not super hard to teach your infant and toddlers. You want to say hi to the listeners, Bean?
Okay, walk away.
Yeah, you can rip that paper. She's coloring, you guys. All right, my friends, check out Roll It Out. Check out all the free resources I have on my website. There's like 6 new things there for you. And I would love you guys to check that stuff out. Please honor me with a 5-star rating and a review. And yeah, I would love to have you on the podcast. I would love to diversify who I have on, the type of stories, where you're geographically located, all the things. So thank you again for being with me. I appreciate you so much. Check out Digit Podcast, Health and Wellness podcast there. And of course, Greener Grass. We have a huge variety of things. And you get to hear more of my voice, which is hopefully a good thing. All right, guys, have an amazing week. Over and out. This is the Expecting Ariel Snail Podcast.